Do you ever wonder where it all began? Where it all started? All of us have some starting point in the fandom. And for me, I thought that it was pretty fitting right now to ask myself one simple question. Why am I so intent on having these huge Titan class figures? We've gotten Devastator, and I have Devastator, and I love him. We've gotten Metroplex, and he's absolutely amazing. We've gotten Fortress Maximus most recently, and he's terrific. But where did it all start? What was the first big bot that kids drooled over, that collectors wanted? Well, it all started with a guy by the name of G1 Omega Supreme. And yeah, I know, this is again a little bit unusual for my channel, but stick around, we're going to take a look back at this guy and why he's the first big bot that inspired everything that followed. We're going to look at him in all of his glory still, because trust me, it still stands in the latest GotBot True Review. Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. As always, I'm your host, Dennis Moult, aka GotBot. I appreciate you dropping by. Please look me up everywhere. Check out Machinery Man and the Everything Factor. And this is a classic. This is G1 Omega Supreme. This is not a reissue. This is not a piece that I've gotten as a collector in my adult life. No. This is the guy that I opened up one Christmas morning when I was a little kid and couldn't believe that I had been fortunate enough to get him. He is still one that has a presence. He's not the biggest now, obviously, but he just has a presence, probably because of his bulk, probably because of his cannons, probably because of these huge pieces on his backpack. I don't know what it is, but he still has a presence even today. Now, just to get this out of the way really quickly, how does he stack up? Well, you know what, like, here he is with a G1 combiner, Computron, the only G1 combiner I had. And I've looked at him in comparison to the recent box set that we got, but you know, there he is. We'll take him out of it. Then we have him in comparison to something a little more modern day. Something like a deluxe class figure. And he is still impressively large in comparison to Alpha Bravo. Here he is with a Legends class. This is the Titans Return Rewind. And he's enormous next to him. Here he is, speaking of Computrons, here he is with a modern day Combiner Wars Combiner, and he's about the same height. They're both about a foot tall, roughly. About a foot tall. And I'm going to tell you, in the hands of a little kid, that was enormous. And this is the reason why I would love to eventually see a Titan class updated version of this figure. Because here he is with, I think, who most people would consider to be his prime nemesis, pardon the pun there, prime. There he is with the awesome Titan class Devastator, who is so large that he's at a screen. Because Titan class Devastator stands about 18 inches, this guy's about a foot tall. I'm not going to grade him exactly as I would with some of the newer things, because this was the first release of this guy. In his own way, he's a 10 because he's what everything else is benchmarked from. In terms of being accurate to the show, I always thought he was great except for two things. One, he never had his face in behind his face mask. That always drove me nuts, even though I get it, there is an electronics gimmick where that lights up. And this piece was always up, not down like this in the animation. Whatever. Again, it used to drive me nuts. It wouldn't now. If I got, an updated figure and that piece was there, I would be so cool with it because it would harken back to this. His paint apps, I guess, if you want to really be critical, we could say that they're 9 compared to the animation. Posability, playability. Well, the head goes left and right, and you hear mechanisms. He does have electronics, and while I don't have, at least I don't think I have, batteries in him now. No, I don't. The batteries would go here in this compartment in his abdomen. I did put in a couple that I had. Now, those batteries were on their last legs, but to my shock and amazement, when I turned him on, this still lit up, and he still walked. All these years later. And this guy's about 30 years old, folks, and they still work. It says something about stuff that was made to last compared to stuff now that breaks when you look at it the wrong way. But that's a rant for another day. The arms, clicky ratchets. It could go all the way around if you didn't have this backpack on here. Bicep swivel, 90-degree elbow bend. This hand over here, these 3 open up to give him a claw. I mean, he doesn't really have hands per se. What else do we have here? The legs, you don't really have any articulation in because part of the gimmick, of course, is that he walks. And because part of the gimmick is that he walks, electronically, you don't really have any leg articulation. Again, with a guy this size, though, it never really bothered me because I kind of pictured him moving slowly anyway. And as long as he could move his head and, aim his blasters and grab things with this arm, I was good with it all, to be honest with you. Now these have gotten loose over the years. Maybe some floor polish might thicken them up. I don't know. But he overall has pretty good articulation for the time that he came out. Pretty excellent articulation for the time that he came out. I'm going to give his articulation an 8. Comparative to when it came out. Nowadays, I think we probably wouldn't expect a waist swivel. It'd be nice if he had one, but we wouldn't necessarily expect it. It'd be nice if he had ankle tilts and, of course, a knee and thigh swivel. Again, it is what it is. This guy is also the ultimate parts former. So we're going to get into transformation. He's the ultimate parts former. There's no doubt about it. But the thing is, on the animation, guess what? When he would transform, he would come all apart into different pieces and transform. The easiest place to start is to remove this piece and remove this piece. And to remove them, I guess I should have pointed this out with the first one. You don't really pull on it. There's a little button right here, and you press the button, and it, I guess, releases a little latch from in here, and boom. You take these 2 pieces, and there are teeth here, 4 teeth, and there's 4 slots here, and guess what you do? You take these, you put them together, and you have a shuttle. What I always found hilarious and loved was the fact that this shuttle could take off from Earth, fly to Cybertron, land, and he could transform into robot form, and somehow all of his pieces would just magically appear. Kind of like Optimus's trailer. So that's the first part done. Next, you tilt the head forward a little bit and you take off his backpack. When you take off his backpack, you turn it around and there's a little tab down here and you open it up and you open it up and these pieces come out and then you can close that backpack up again. We're going to take those pieces off for now, and we're going to take the backpack piece off for now, and we're even going to take his arms off for now. Okay, let's keep going here. Next, I guess we can do this. You collapse the arms. They're on beautiful ratchets, and they're still so tight after all these years. I love it. And you flip those in. You turn the head around so that the tank turret is facing out. We're just going to leave it like that for now until we get his legs apart. You begin by taking, I guess, taking these yellow pieces off of the back. All of those yellow pieces come off. And we'll lay those aside. And we come to the front, and these large yellow pieces slide up. You'll notice that the legs are connected here, here, and down right here. On the back, there's a little lip right there, and here are spaces for these to fit in. That's why you have to slide it up. It will not just come apart on you. You need to, again, if I can get it, this one is so tight. There, slide it up. Next, you take the two halves of the legs apart and apart. I will point this out really quickly. On this part of the leg, which is the outer part of the leg, there's a little tab up top. On the side of the tank, there's a little tab over, or hole over here. That piece would tab into that hole. Then, with the leg fully extended, in right here, inside, there's a little, I guess a little raised piece of plastic. I'm not even sure what you call it. It's a little edge. And that little raised piece of plastic would fit in to a slot right here. It was an area that was like hollowed out. And then two halves would come together and you put the yellow pieces on. So yeah, that's how we deal with the outer part of the legs. Now for the inner part of the legs. You take the foot off and you take the foot off. And when you take the feet off, there's a slot here and there's a slot over here. And I realize that this is kind of far away. I had to kind of set the camera up like this so that you can actually see it when it's all out. But these slots on either side of the foot go up into little plastic pieces right here, and right here, right here, and right here. So we'll take the feet off for now. And then we split the, I guess the shin? And when we split that, we take it apart and there's a, you know, really just two little tabs right here. You can see two little I guess holes right here, and these things would tab together. Inside here there's a molded piece that goes kind of down straight, curves and comes down at an angle. Same here, it goes down straight, curves and comes at an angle. They wrap around the lower part of this tread, and the tread fits in there nicely. Just see if I can show you one half here. I think this is the one to go in. Just like that. They would go on over the tread, just like that, and you would tab the other side in over it. But nevertheless, we take those off, and we do the same on the other side. And we have so many parts. We collapse the treads up inside, and they just collapse up inside here. And we, I guess, I should show this. We pull this piece down, and then we flip this piece up, and we have a tank. Technically, for the main core and the main body of Omega Supreme, he is now transformed. There are little wheels down here that would go on his track, and if you turned on the lights and sound, he would actually travel around the track, and this whole turret moves all the way around in circles. It's pretty cool, but I mean, as a tank, he has a gun here, a gun here, a gun here. Impressive armament from Omega Supreme. So we're going to take him off, and where do we begin to actually transform this guy? Well, you hear a lot of sounds there. We're going to begin by simply taking these two pieces that were part of his backpack, and we're just going to lay them down. We're just going to lay them down. Next, you take two of the leg pieces, and you'll notice that there's a whole set of notches here and a whole set of notches here, and guess what? Those notches should fit together like this. Now that's not very secure and they would come apart, but what you do is take one of the little yellow pieces that you pulled off the back of his leg, and inside here, once you notch the legs together, you get a little section molded in right here that this can actually go over. And when this goes over it, it keeps the whole thing far more solid. But that's not it. We're not done. We are not done. Those little ankle pieces that I mentioned earlier, now we get to use those too. Maybe I'll put that on backwards. Did I put that on backwards? No, I don't think I did. I think that was right. Now we have those ankle pieces, and if you're wondering what I mean by ankle pieces, I mean these pieces. They're the ones that fit around the tread to make his shin, I guess I should call it. And when we look at this now, we have a little slot up here and we have a little slot down here, and guess what? These pieces, assuming you have two of the correct ones taken, because they are all quite specific, these pieces come down and slot in there, and then this piece comes down and slots in right here. Now the track will feed into this opening right here, and there's one on the other end, and the track itself has little molded plastic pieces here and down right here. So we put that in, and we put that in, and we have his track largely done. What we did to make this little bridge section, we now do the same thing on the other side by notching two leg pieces together, by taking one of those little yellow pieces and putting it on over to secure it. A shin piece down there, a shin piece over here, and boom, there's the track done. And normally now you would lay the core of Omega Supreme on the track just like that, or you could lay him, you know, up here or wherever you wanted to lay him. Now things start to get a little bit more interesting. They get a little bit more interesting because there are really recognized multiple configurations for how the rest of this goes. So I'm going to show you how I've always transformed him since I was a little kid. Is it right? Is it wrong? I don't know. Guess what? It doesn't matter to me. Next we will take his 2 feet. You have his 2 actual feet here. And on these feet there are slots up here and up here. Well, I guess I should do it this way. There are slots on his 2 heels. I like to place one foot kind of under there and one foot under here. Then I like to take the backpack, and the backpack has a little tab here and a little tab here. And guess what I've always liked to do? That's right, I'd like to put the feet over the little tab. If I can get the feet over the little tab. And they don't want to stay there now. Normally, actually, they stay on quite well. And for me, I've always done it just like that. Now, do I actually know if this is correct? Not really. Sometimes I've had the backpack face the other way, you know, if that works for you. Next, and we're almost there, believe it or not. Next, we take the little yellow pieces that were on the backs of his legs, the bigger yellow pieces, and that slots on over right there. And if you push down, it locks in. And on this side, it slots down over, and if you push it, it locks in. Last but not least, well, actually I guess second to last, are the pieces that are on the front of his legs. There's a little tab up top, and a little space here on the foot, and they notch down into that space, and notch down into that space on the foot, just like that. And last but not least, we put his shuttle arms over here ready for launch. And there's the first base that we ever had. There is Omega Supreme. And how does he function as a base? Well, you know what? There's Rewind again. And Omega Supreme is still enormous next to him. And here's Alpha Bravo. And again, it's big enough still, this day and age, to kind of serve as an outpost base for these guys. Is it perfect scale? Definitely not. But he is still impressive all these years later. In bot mode, he still has a presence. In base mode, he still looks great. And I've been curious. I'd love to know how his base mode looks with you know, our most recent Titan class outings. Who knows? Maybe I'll snap a picture of it. I'm not going to do it here, but we'll see. Maybe I'll post it around. Who knows? Overall, Omega Supreme, G1 Omega Supreme, his transformation, you know, it's like a 4. It's a lot of parts forming. It might even be a 2. It's a lot of parts forming. But the end result, either way, is still absolutely beautiful. I'm still going to give this guy an overall score of 10. Why am I giving him a 10? Because for the time he came out, he was beyond impressive. And he's the one who started every fan's, I guess, love for the huge base robots. You can't deny the impact that he has had on the legacy of the brand that we all know and love. Anyway, thanks for sticking around. Thanks for having a real way look back with me here. This was something a little bit different, and you know, I have a few more of these. This was part of where my love for the franchise, for the brand, you know, began ever so many years ago. Not to date myself. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed it. Thanks for giving me a little bit of your time. I appreciate you stopping by. And as always, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together right here for another visit inside the videos.